final session of this morning. Welcome to the stage, please, Paul Lunow, building high-trust teams in an AI-enabled engineering organization. Paul. Thanks.
So, hello. Is that the timer? Yes, perfect. So, I'm very happy to be here. I think we did not heard any AI in the last talk, did we? That was surprising. So I came up with a lot of AI stuff now again. And of course, when I prepared for that talk, I tried to ask, following Simon Sinek, what is the why? And most likely, a lot of you already pointed into that circle and asked for the why, or you requested that from someone else, from the C-level colleagues. Or gave any spontaneous answer, right? When someone from your team is asking, why are we doing that? Today, and maybe for this day, but also for the time we're living in, AI is generic, always true answer on that, because we will learn today, we know already it will take everything away, it will change everything, and it will stay here. And our goal as CTOs and as tech leaders and founders is to help our team to deal with that change. But to deal with that is not a one-time thing, right? There is unfortunately not this one presentation that will fix everything. We need to build trust, and this is a long-run game, and there's no silver bullet. So I will again come up with a lot of questions and hopefully thoughts to think about, to follow our good old engineering practices, to do many iterations, to have careful observations, and get time for deep thoughts. So my talk is split into 3 parts: skills, mindset, and practice. Okay, now I'm confused with the slides, sorry. And when you master all these 3 things, then you will finally get a team that instinctively weaves AI into their workflows. And this is what we need to achieve. And when that happens, we have more time for creative thinking, we have more time for decision making, we can improve our quality or the code quality, and all of that will lead to increased developer happiness. And happy teams will build better products. So I did that already the last 20 years, I would say, following the archetypes mostly as a startup CTO, but jumped through various roles. The last 2.5 years I spent as a head of technology at XU Group, building AI learning platforms for big corporates. Turns out they want to have it, but nobody has time to spend actually learning on that platforms. Another challenge. And now I am very happy to support Vention as the CTO and support teams across Europe. Now I want to go into these 3 chapters. Let's start with skills, and this is all about you, because if you are not able to spend time and to think about how you are dealing with AI, you can't be the leader for your team. Because even though you are in a startup maybe and you say, hey, we're just 5 people or 10 or 20, we have flat hierarchies, the people will look at you, right? Because you are the tech leader, and no matter what you say, they will always find this reference to you. And the other thing I found really, really challenging is that you need to think somehow, how can you enable your engineers while your job is totally different, right? You as the CTO and tech leader, you are jumping from flight level to flight level like crazy, jumping this and that meeting, while ideally your engineers can spend hopefully a lot of time on coding or improving the AI workflows. So first thing to start is get aware of your personal fears and uncertainties. I think this question, if we will all lose our jobs, is very present, and it's a good thing to start with the question if AI can actually change the way how I do things. How can I do it faster, better, or different? And how do we get an answer to that is with deep thought, work, and experimentation. As a technical leader, we want to seek clarity through knowledge. So I wonder if you maybe had time in the last months to really set up a structured experiment that is maybe more than pressing tab and cursor on a side note or copy-pasting something from ChatGPT. And also if you have an idea of a good experiment, right? Because you can try out so many things, but are you able to set it into a workflow and framework? And do you talk about it? Can you share that with your team? And last but not least, are you aware of the trap that you try something, AI is creating so-so results, and then you wipe it away and say, okay, that will not work for now. How can we do that? First of all, I would really recommend diving into mindful practice. Whenever the AI gives you some more time with writing emails or whatever, spend that time to any mindful practice exercise that relates with you, because that will help you clear the noise at least a little bit. You can work on your Ikigai, that is a super great tool, but you could also draw a vision board, for example, where you can put some categories and then put some pictures and visualize it for yourself. Hesitate the impulse to write a LinkedIn post about it, because this vision board should resonate with yourself and not with the world, right? Do it for yourself. And time boxing, the good old famous Pomodoro technology, where you can find your interval, 25 minutes to 45 minutes, whatever. Focus on one specific thing, do 5 minutes break, and then jump to another. All of that will help to set your personal skills better. And if you had done that, you can finally go into the mindset of managing the team. Because if you feel overwhelmed maybe already a little bit with all the new requirements, the good news is you are not alone on that, ideally. So let us quickly talk about what is a team. If you are alone, okay, then you need to deal with all of that overwhelming. But on the other hand, you can also just do it, right? You are on the single player mode and you just rush through it. If you are 2 people in the, let's say, product tech team, that is also super great, but I would not consider that as a team, because you can just sit together, you can do body doubling or hackathons or extreme focus modes, whatever, just sit together and be as fast as possible. If you deal with 3 to 7 people, that is basically the sweet spot I want to jump in now. If it is more than 7, so you have more than 7 directs, I would highly recommend to think about maybe restructuring or splitting, because to build trust and to enable everybody requires time and mental power. And that becomes very difficult for more than 7 people. And also, like yourself, the people will face a lot of uncertainty. Back in the days, as a technology person, you know how the computer works and nobody else, right? And now, somehow everybody can somehow develop the computer in just plain English, and nobody knows how it works or what comes out exactly. So all the feelings about that, oh damn it, now I should have wrote this product requirements and it just took me 20 minutes, 2 minutes to generate and 18 minutes to review it a little bit, and the result is pretty good. So how should I tell that, and how should I justify my value against my manager? Very, very valid question. And your job is basically to remind everyone over and over again why they are here. And I want also to repeat that once more, because this repetition thing is super important. The people really are stressed, especially in the remote work. They are maybe distracted, or they are just tired, or thinking about the tasks at hand already. So repeat over and over why the team is here. And ideally, you can relate very well to the company values, vision, and mission. I say ideally because in a lot of real-world scenarios that is not so clear or is changing all the time. But you as a tech leader, you can find the perspective on how to connect your team actually to the company. And that creates a sense of belonging. That is super important, that the people know why they are here and there is a team that belongs together. And that slowly over time creates the trust to share experiences. When I write the very best product requirement document in just 20 minutes, then I, as a tech leader, want that everybody in my team feels free and enabled to share that, because we will learn together on that and we can all use it. And this is the goal, to create more time. That does not happen automatically. And that is also not happening if you just have this one talk to the people and say, hey, you need to share that more open, because only then we will survive. You need to repeat constantly, and you need to create the safe space to share these kind of things. If there are a safe space, we can demystify the AI contribution. That gives the people the trust that they can openly talk about it. If we share it all together, we build collective wisdom, and also multiple people can try multiple tools, and we can get much, much faster good results out of it. And last but not least, you will very clearly observe where are the skeptical and the overexcited people. Most likely in a team, you always have these people who want to jump on everything immediately, and the exact opposite. And after this trust and this team belonging is created, you can start to balance that. And 3 examples how you can do that. First of all, with check-in questions. I'm really a huge fan of check-in questions. Use them in your daily meetings, because they are, on dailies maybe too much, but at least in the weekly meetings, they tickle the brains, they make everybody say something, at least in the beginning, and they are unexpected. If you are logging in every day or every week into the same meeting and you know the same people are talking, start with an unexpected question. So one example I really like is, what is your least favorite fruit? Because it's unexpected, right? And most of the people like more or less all fruits, so it requires a little bit of thinking, it spins up stories, and you create this slightly awkward moments that the team is sharing together. If you look in the internet for check-in question generators, there are super cool tools where you can create a lot of good questions. One word about one-on-ones. That is also super important, because it allows your directs to tell you, for example, when you repeated too much or when you are not explaining well enough. And I want to underline to use this one-on-ones on everything but operational work. Ideally, the operational work is already happening in the weeklies and dailies, and you can use this one-on-ones to talk about everything else. And if you feel super bored, and this is also repeating all the times, then think about the cadence, and also try to find topics you like to talk about and you share with your direct, right? There are always things, and by the way, the check-in questions are very good to find out who is into what, and you can use these check-ins to dive into that, and that creates also trust, and that creates some things you have in common, and this is supporting all the activities in addition. And last but not least, maybe you heard about that already. 6 thinking heads is a great brainstorming tool where you have literally heads on your head and you share them, and each head is representing one perspective. So you can share them, ideally combined with a team exercise or team day, and with that you can train to take over different perspectives and exchange the views. Okay. So you set up yourself very well, you have a perfect, super trustful team, and now, unfortunately, most likely this team is inside a big company, or a small company, or at least one CEO, and other people. So we are not alone, and we are expected, as this one great question asked already, do something with AI, right? This is important, this is what the people want. So I have 3 more topics to cover here, maybe with a more German perspective. First one is navigate the compliance hell, because this is the next question after do something with AI, but do it compliant and don't violate any data protection rules. And to achieve that, you want to answer strategic questions. Or let's say you want to set up strategic questions, and the answers on that questions will lead you to the big topic of responsibilities and ethically. That is something we should at least start the discussion about. Start with the compliance hell. That is something we are all facing, and a lot of good initiatives, especially here in Germany, are, let's say, carefully slowed down by that. And I would highly recommend, as a technical leader, to give yourself a mission, right? For example, a mission: bring at least one coding assistant into your environment. And start with something small. You don't need to revolutionize everything at once. Start really small to get used to it and to improve your ways of working, navigating the whole company. And you do that obviously because your job is to enable your engineers, and you are free to think outside the box. You are also free to invite the team and to share ideas and to set up experiments as in the beginning. Because there are a lot of solutions. You know, obviously already. Every day there are new tools and new setups and new open source things. So it is solvable. It is not easy, but you definitely can make it, and it will benefit the company. So when that easy mission is done, or let's say in our paralyzed world, when this mission is running, you can start to set up some strategic questions. For example, how do you bring more people into making AI happen? It is not only the tech team, it is literally everybody, everywhere involved. Yesterday, I had a nice conversation with the captain of the Polarstern. Do you know the Polarstern? That's our icebreaker who did this awesome Mosaic mission and was frozen in the North Pole for 9 months. And super interesting. A lot of technical cool stuff there. And I thought, okay, an icebreaker and a scientific mission, that is more or less said and done, and they do it right, they prepared. But he was exactly the same like me, super afraid and overwhelmed by all the AI things that are happening. They have now self-learning cruise control systems. They're building a new ship. They have over-the-air updates. He's afraid that he can't control his ship anymore. So it's really everywhere, and it's a good thing to open your horizon, at least to the rest of the company, to bring on more people. And if they are there, you have more eyeballs on the AI results and processes. And then, last but not least, and I would say this is one of the aspects on why your CEO is asking to do something with AI, go and find out what other stakeholders has which expectations against the company to do something with AI. I like the advice to say, yeah, we're doing something with AI, okay, that is fine. But if you understand that also your CEO is constantly asked from the investors to do something with AI, or the other companies are doing a lot of marketing with that, it's a good defined system you can draw, you can investigate, and then you can find a perfect answer on that. Super nice, very technical. And if you set up your questions, the answers of that will automatically bring you into this endless philosophical topic of responsibility and ethically. So when more people making AI happen, for example, legal and IT, they are very obvious and next steps, then you have a super good increased chance to identify biases, for example, or all the other edge cases, missing quality, or average results when just more people looking at it. That's important. And last but not least, you want to extend the trust across your team into the company. And my last slide with 3 tools to navigate the company. I would double down on release notes. So a lot of teams I saw, they are releasing every day. They have super awesome practices, but they are not talking about it. And the people in the rest of the company are saying, I have no clue what the IT tech team is doing. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. So write release notes, bring everyone to the table, send them to the global company newsletters, and do it in words that also non-technical people can understand. What I recently introduced is open hours, where always one product person and one tech person have once a week a meeting, and everybody in the company is invited to join. So you can invite everyone to bring their ideas and to ask questions, and maybe also ask slowly, silently the questions. They are not so obvious. So open that room for the whole company, and they will come up with good ideas. And you can also validate, okay, what in the release notes is not understandable, and what should I maybe change next time. And last but not least, the documentation. I would definitely double down on that, maybe not on the purely boring AI-generated documentation, but on the real documentation, why things are happening. Because everyone who's not technically and want to set up now their own ChatGPT agent, whatever, they will take that, copy-paste it, and then suddenly there's a legal AI. And it would be much better if the legal AI have already plenty of knowledge about the technical product you are building. So with investing into that one, you can help basically your colleagues in other departments to build better AIs and lower the pressure on your shoulders. So all of that is not easy, and all of that takes a lot of iterations. Luckily, the AI technology is here to stay, and we have plenty of time to iterate on that approaches. But this is what we like as a technical leaders, right? So it's definitely worth it. It's the long-run game you want to play with, and in the end, you have more time for critical thinking, for decision-making. You will create less boilerplate, and in the end, you have increased developer happiness. That's the end of my introduction to that conversation. I'm super happy to continue talking and sharing ideas here in person on LinkedIn, or you can also follow my podcast where we talk about product and tech things. Thank you very much.
I don't think we've got time. We've probably got time for one question very, very quickly from Lucy. Many tech companies are now reducing management burden by making teams larger than 8 people. How do you view that?
I see that critical, and it definitely goes on your time to manage the people and to build a real relationship to them. But it is a very diverse situation to deal with that and to find the good arguments on how to avoid. Not an easy task. Good luck.
Let's get this last one then. What practices help build trust between skeptics and early adopters of AI within the same team?
Oh yeah, that is a good one. From my experience, is a key thing are the one-on-ones, right? If you have a very intense discussion about certain things and everyone comes up with new ideas and things and some others are totally against that, getting them in a one-on-one, talk through it, uncover the real fears and uncertainties behind them can really, really help. And then, last but not least, I want to highlight again this 6 thinking hats and force the skeptical person to take the enthusiastical hat and vice versa. And then let's see what happens.
Good stuff. Well, thanks to Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate.